You know what's interesting to me is tell me if you and Dan, you're balls deep into fighting as me, and Chin, you like fighting as well.
Like,
I just feel like it's not as I don't know. I feel like since I went to ESPN, there's just the buzz is gone. The
Absolutely.
buzz is gone. Like in all honesty, I used to have to book certain stand-up shows around if it was a pay per view UFC, we'd usually steer away from that because my crowd conflicts with that. Now I book shows whenever. It's not even we don't even think about it this anymore. And the shows, no, I'm not bragging, they're sold out. Where before it'd usually be a problem because it'd be a conflict of interest. So I feel like now that's behind two paywalls, and I don't know. The star doesn't really exist anymore. It's only on digital, which is a little aggressive to do that this early. And you look at the pay per view numbers. Like I think the one for who was it? Was it Stylebender or Kelvin? They're talking about 70,000 pay per
they
view
said
buys.
under 100 for sure.
What I heard from a legit source is around 65 to 70,000 pay per view
Yeah.
buys. So now it's like I don't know, like 70,000 pay per view. So that's your diehard following that went through all these steps to get there, and they had their issues. And maybe this next one 100,000, but even at 100,000, you're going so far back. You're taking so many steps backwards. I'm thinking what the UFC's plan is like we're gonna have to go backwards before we go forwards. So the forwards is the future, but it's like for the fighters, especially the ones who are currently in it now, it's doing them such a disservice because everyone's getting paid except for the fighter. Now the fighter, so for Stylebender, 70,000 people saw your fight. Paid for it, illegally streamed. I'm sure there's a lot more. But let's just say only 70,000 saw it. Fuck, man. It's not good. It's going to be hard to negotiate anything now because the UFC is not counting the illegal streams. They're going, let's say Stylebender starches Whitaker. And then goes like, hey, I want more money. I need more money. The UFC's going to go, dude, you only bring in about 70,000 people, dude. We can't give you more money. We've been over that before. It's just, I don't know, man. It's just, I think they're going back to being such a niche sport. When I'm on the streets, I don't have people talking about Matt. I didn't have one person mention this fight to me. Not one. Over the weekend, usually like when I meet and do the meet and greet, people are like, dude, have you seen the results of Rose? Andrade or Anderson Silva, or not one person said anything to me. I don't know. I just feel like it's losing its luster a little bit. And then also what you see now is how we hear Brock Lesnar turn down the deal, right? And Connors, we haven't heard anything from him. So now the UFC is content in just being in cruise control because they have this reliable nut from ESPN. So they're set there. So they're not willing to bend over backwards to get a guy like Brock Lesnar now. They don't need it. So they don't have to give Conor McGregor half the company to come back. We don't care, man. We're good. But for everyone wins, but the fighters are so fucked because such a limited viewership now. So your sponsors are less, if any. Your notoriety, your fame, your social media following, your YouTube channel, to sell merch, the chance of you becoming the day and age of a superstar in the UFC is gone. It's so gone. There's no more pink elephants, no more gold elephants. Everyone's just gray now. You're just gray. That's how I feel about it now. It's a bummer.
They're locked in for a while though, so they'll be fine for what, 5-7 years.
When you say the UFC is going to be fine.
Yeah.
And also notice the direction of the marketing now on ESPN. Who do you see now? Dana White. It's very Vince McMahon. This is the face that you recognize because you won't recognize the fighters, but you recognize Dana White. So his ego and his popularity goes, that's the face now. That's not good. So notice all the promos are Dana. Does anyone notice that now?
Yeah.
That's all. It's all him. That's insane, man. Ugh. Whoa. I get it if you're Dana, like you're like, yeah, I'll do it, or we're gonna do it, but it's just like that shouldn't be the focal point of the sell. Can you imagine if Roger Goodell was like, this weekend, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning going at it? People are like, dude, get the fuck off my screen. Where are the athletes? What are you doing? Why are you selling us on this? It's very Don King-ish, who he wants to be like. He's very, very Don King, very promoter, very P. Diddy, Suge Knight-ish. Dude, get out of the shot. Hey, Mutombo, out of the shot. Get out of the shot. What are you doing? Yeah, I see that. I'm like, what are they doing, dude? But I don't know. It's heartbreaking, man. Yeah, I find it very heartbreaking. I see some people, you're so negative with the UFC. I'm not negative. It's just, I guess I call it the way I see it, the same way some people complain about the way of Game of Thrones and stuff like that. The problem is that's a narrative and that's fake. These people's lives are really being compromised here, the fighters, where you were headed in the right direction, and now it's like everything everyone's worked for, it's back. And so I'm sure it's in the current event. So they can't entice, and nor do they want to. They're not going to play ball with the big stars. So the chance of Conor coming back, not good. Eventually he will, because I'm sure ESPN, the big wigs at ESPN are going, dude, you guys, like, give us something to get things going here, because these numbers are terrible. Give us something to get, you got to draw one of these big boys out. So the big boys would be Brock Lesnar, Ronda Rousey, Conor McGregor. Who else? GSP, right? There you go. And then Nate Diaz would be the fifth on that tier. So I'd say GSP, Conor, and Brock are like A-listers. And then you got Nate Diaz, he's A- lister, but he's not in the same range as those guys, unless he's fighting Conor. If he's fighting Conor, you got a superstar fight, and you're going to pay him up the ass. But if he's fighting anybody else, he's kind of that next tier down. It's not a knock on Nate. I'm just saying that's where the demand for ESPN is. So Brock said, no, they can't pay. He's like, dude, you owe me this. Like, we don't care, dude. We don't need you that bad. Conor, like, no, we don't need you that bad. GSP, remember, wanted to fight Khabib. Khabib wants to fight him. The UFC was like, no, we're good. We're not going to pay that much. The only guy that agreed was Nate Diaz. So they got him out. So I don't know. Does that correlate to subscriptions and pay-per-view buys that they want? I don't think so. But that's what they're hoping for. But somehow they're giving him enough money, flat bottom line, to get him out. I'll definitely watch that fight. Nate Diaz, Anthony Pettis. Cool. But out of all the big dogs, all of them said no for a reason, which is very strange. And Brock Lesnar, right, he does this dance. GSP does this dance. But I don't see the UFC succumbing, being like, all right, we'll pay that, because they've decided being a niche market and being smaller is the way they want to go, and they cover their nut, and they're good where the sport's at, and they're not investing in stars anymore. There's just the day and age of a star is gone, is absolutely gone.